Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Civil Rights Agenda sponsored LGBT show. And it should be LGBTQIA because that kind of recognizes everybody, okay? But welcome to the show. My guest is not here tonight, so I have some stuff that we're going to talk about. Please remember that you can call in. We're an interactive show, and you can call us at 312-738-1060. And we would love to answer your questions, listen to your comments, okay, whatever you would like to do. Anyway, again, the show is brought to you by the Civil Rights Agenda at 2129 Northwestern Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, 773-235-8852. If you have any questions, you can always call them if there's something that if you would like to help or whatever, then you can also call them. They would be glad to hear from you. Okay. The other thing, before we start talking about stuff, is I am on the board of directors, or the advisory board at Governor State University, and I talked about this on the last show a little bit. Anyway, I have started an LGBTQIA scholarship fund at Governor State for LGBTQIA students who want to further their education at a very reputable educational institution. Governor State University is a very accepting, inclusive school, and they have an LGBTQIA club where you can kind of commiserate and so on and so forth. But I started this because I think it's important that LGBTQIAs have a way to continue and further their education, okay? So if you want any more information, there is a phone number. Okay, I don't have it on here. But it's Governor State University in University Park, Illinois. Okay? And you can call them and, talk to them, ask them questions if you wish. Okay. One of the things I want to talk about is the good news, at least for the LGBTQIA community, and that is, and I think it's super news actually. Hopefully we get more LGBTQIAs to kind of answer the call and actually try to be get involved in the politics of the day. Morrison, first LGBT county board member, was elected, and a quote from the article is Morrison called the win incredible. It goes to show that when people are casting ballots, they're looking for a new blood and fresh ideas. I know from going door to door that people were impressed with my vision and message, and the fact that I'm not the classic politician they've seen before. It's an incredible honor to be elected in the village where I grew up. He also went on to say, for me, after the 2016 election ended, I knew I wasn't done fighting. I looked at Schneider's record and saw that he wasn't standing up for the residents of the district. I want to see voices of the 15th district represented And that's what pushed me to make the decision to run. Okay? We need more LGBTQIA people out there to take the momentum. The Democrats have done a good job of getting the Congress back. There's still questions about some of the Senate positions. As we know, there's some states that are recounting, and there's some states that are not totally in yet. So it behooves us, number one, as LGBTQIAs, to get out and vote. And I think that was part of this year's thing that happened, and that is good. That is good. But we also have to try to be part of the system, part of getting votes out, okay, volunteering, so on and so forth, or even running for an office, okay? I want to quickly say something about, I have been pretty sure over the last couple, 3 years or so, that there are a lot more people out there in the general public that are accepting and tolerant of the LGBTQIA community. There's a lot of them that are allies. There's a lot of them that are very respectful towards us and are not. The problem is that we don't hear that much about them, although I think this kind of proves it. We don't hear much about them because they quietly go about supporting us and not giving us any trouble, etc. And so much noise coming from the far right, from those that don't tolerate, for those that don't accept or try to tell other people how they should live, etc., etc. So with all that noise, we probably don't see it or hear it, okay? The folks that are supportive. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of those that may be watching that actually took into consideration that we have been thrown under the bus by the current administration in more ways than one. And it makes me very happy to see that there are places such as Morrison County where they have shown by who they voted for that being LGBTQIA is not an issue, that there's more issues out there that have nothing to do with us or religion or any of that, okay? So it's very heartwarming to see that we can, in fact, another headline that came in was Massachusetts has upheld law on transgender rights. There was a referendum on the ballot in Massachusetts to repeal any legislation that had been passed to protect transgender LGBTQIA rights, and that was soundly defeated at the polls. So again, that's a representation that we are so happy to see happening. Now, Illinois is and has been since 2005 when they passed the legislation, adding gender identity and sexual orientation to those that cannot be discriminated against, which there are 19 other states outside of Illinois that have done that, okay? Massachusetts was one of them. But Massachusetts evidently thought that they had enough Republican votes against us that they could try to repeal those laws, and come to find out the general public wasn't going to go for it, okay? Which again, in turn, demonstrates the fact that we do have more friends and allies and people that, although may not be totally supportive, are at least accepting to the point of being very tolerant, okay? Which is something we need in this country, quite frankly. We used to be, the United States used to be the foremost proponent of tolerance. We have turned 180 degrees with this current administration from being anything such, okay? And so these type of things really make me feel better and help me to accept and be happy the fact that we do have a lot more support and acceptance than what some of us may feel because of the Republicans and the religious zealots and whatnot that tend to think they can tell other people what to do. There is one sad thing, and it's in the state of Illinois, and that is that we still have not, in regards to prisons, we still do not get the respect that we deserve. There was a article in the paper, in the Sun-Times, that talked about a transgender person who actually tried to get the state to allow her to move in to a women's prison as opposed to being in a male environment. And those that are LGBTQIA can certainly understand why it is difficult for a trans woman to be in with a lot of male prisoners. She gets harassed, she gets gets called names, she probably has had a lot of sexual assaults and so on and so forth. And this is something, and I don't think it's just Illinois that has these problems. I think most states, especially those 30 states that do not protect transgenders, is probably even worse, okay? But this is something that we need to do, and this is another battleground for us, is to get the prison system, regardless of state, to understand that we are not in the right place, okay? This just doesn't seem to me to be a whole lot of common sense. I know if I was a prisoner, which I don't want to be, obviously, but if I were a prisoner, I would probably be freaking out every day as soon as I woke up and just scared stiff of what is going to happen that day. Okay? Nobody should be in that business or in that predicament. Everybody out there that's watching now can think of things that they rather not have happen to them on a daily basis. I don't care if it's a car accident. I don't care if it's, being mugged or so on and so forth, or any action whatsoever. Well, can you imagine living with it 24/7 for the amount of time you're going to be in that one place, that every single day you have to look forward to being harassed, being assaulted, being called names, being this, that, and the other thing? It's a miserable life. And so it's something that needs to be changed, as well as other things within the prison community. There's also, well, of course you all know, I'm not going to show this one, you all know, I'm sure, that the acting Attorney General that we now have at the federal level is anything but friendly to LGBTQIAs. Mr. Whitaker has made it abundantly clear that his agenda is only and will only be protecting President Trump. Okay? If it was a matter of protecting him from somebody shooting him, then that I can understand. But that's why we have a Secret Service. Okay? Mr. Whitaker doesn't have to worry about that. But to protect him politically when he makes so many errors and lies and really does dumb things, we should have somebody able to, including the press, be able to speak up and investigate and talk about what he is doing wrong. That's part of what our government is supposed to do. It's supposed to protect the people, protect our rights, and protect the Constitution. The presidency does not give any particular person the option of just running things the way they want to run it regardless. We have a Congress and a Senate and a judicial branch that are supposed to be making sure that everything in the Constitution is applicable. Okay? Well, this certainly isn't applicable for somebody like Whitaker to go around and start defending somebody that is so definitely out of step with the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, so on and so forth. Okay? And the Declaration of Independence. Okay? This country was set up to protect everybody, no matter who they are, what they are, where they're from, etc., etc. Okay? That's not happening. Okay? And President Trump has made it very clear that he is preferential towards certain people. Okay? He said the only ones he wants to let in are the blonde-haired folks from Norway. He has made it clear that he doesn't think white supremacists are out of line. He's made it clear that he is for anything but equal, guaranteed justice and opportunity. Okay? And I think the results on November 6th showed that. So we all need to get on board with having the courage to speak up against demagogues and people like Trump and some of his administration. I don't think everybody in the administration is bad, but I think most of the key players are certainly not doing anything to remedy the situation. Okay, there was that report one time about somebody supposedly taking stuff off of Trump's desk in order to keep it from becoming law or being signed. And we certainly know that there's been a lot of leaks, and so, but nobody has actually come up to a TV show or a radio show or anything and said, I know from experience being in, well, there was one, the African-American lady, I can't think of her name at the moment. Yeah, she did come out and talk a little bit about what was going on. But a lot of people, just thought she was just exaggerating and trying to put Mr. Trump down. And I would hope that the other people would be willing to show and tell what is going wrong and what he does that is not something that he shouldn't be doing. That's why we have a Constitution, a Bill of Rights, and Declaration of Independence. All of those things were the design and culmination of free thinking rather than a dictator or something to that degree. And I do believe that Mr. Trump is, quite frankly, so impressed with himself, he takes absolutely nobody else in consideration. Okay? And that's the problem with our government right now. And that's what we need to do, is go back to being able to show consideration and respect for everybody, because that's what the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence was all about. And there took a lot of brave people to do that and bring that forward, because they were fed up with a one-person dominating rule, be it the King of England. And so for those people that think that Mr. Trump is equal to a king, then no, he's not. He is supposed to follow the laws of this land and not take it upon himself to make changes that he doesn't have the right to do. But he does, and we unfortunately have too many people out there that seem to think, oh, this is fine, and that's what I would do. I don't think most of us would. Okay? It's still, freedom, liberty, and the right to pursue happiness. Okay? That's what that lady standing out in the harbor by New York is there for, is to tell us that and reminds us of that. And so is our flag that tells us that and reminds us that this is the land of the free and the home of the brave. Okay? So I do appreciate those folks that are watching and that believe in the same things. And I really hope next month, hopefully we have a guest that we can talk more about some of these things. And until then, okay, I will be here. And so from us to you, happy Thanksgiving. I hope it's a great Thanksgiving, a blessed Thanksgiving, and that your family enjoys it. Okay? So happy Thanksgiving, And from all of us to all of you, goodbye.